Welcome dear students. In today's video lecture we are going to discuss about the four pillars of Indian democracy. We are in the way of discussing the first unit, Indian Constitution, and the outcome is describe the salient features of the Indian Constitution. In this today topic is about the pillars of Indian democracy. First of all, what is democracy and what is the basic core idea of the democratic system? The system which is permitting the citizens to select their representatives in order to enforce the laws is nothing but the democratic system. So, India is a completely democratic country. The important features of the Indian democratic system are the final decision making power is rests with those elected by the people. So the prime minister or the chief minister or president overall having the power to execute the laws are only elected by the general public. And this system must be based on free and fair election. The open election is followed to select the members. And every citizen who are all crossing the age 18 are having one vote, and each vote is having same value. At the same time, it should rule within limits set by constitutional law and citizen rights. So the power holders are always obeyed by the instructions set by the constitution law. And before getting deep about the pillars of the constitution, the system of India, let's have a short look on the administrative structure of Indian government, both in state and central. So now this flowchart is simply represents the administrative structure of our government. So the president is the first citizen of India who is the topmost level, and under his governance only we are having the central government, that is our parliament. So under the central government, the number of states and union territories are managed, and under the state we are having a state legislative assembly, that is Vidhan Sabha, and under the state legislative assembly we are having city corporations and district level governments. Under district level governments we are having the rural government also. So this is the very basic overview of the administrative structure of our Indian government. And look into deep about the central government of India. The central government of India purely formed by the constitution, and it is having three important bodies: legislative, executive and judicial. Formally, these three bodies are all called as the three pillars of Indian democratic system. And the legislative system is nothing but comprises of the parliament, which is led by the president, and comprises of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and the executive system, which is having the responsibilities to enforce the laws and instructions of government towards the people welfare, led by the prime minister and the council of various ministers. And the judicial is nothing but the main body which is governing, monitoring and enforcing the law and order among the country, led by the Supreme Court, and having the bodies of high courts in state level and the district courts in district level. And now have a look on the three pillars of Indian democracy. Formally, few years back, the Indian democratic system is comprises of three important pillars only. They are legislative, judiciary and executive. Shortly saying, legislative making the laws based on the citizens necessity, based on the time necessity. They will sense the need of people, or otherwise they will observe the need of the people for based on various forums, and they are making laws. These laws are again undergone into a peer review by the judiciary system. In the last few classes I told you about the judicial review concept, which is introduced by Indian constitution. That is not like in American government or in British government, we are having a judicial review system. That judicial review system is nothing but the judiciary having the power to review the laws made by the legislative committee. So the judiciary system will review the laws and then they can able to make changes and interprets the laws. And finally, the executive system having the total power and a responsibility to enforcing the developed laws. So these three are short responsibility of the three important pillars of our democratic system. And now, by seeing the separation of powers, the judiciary system having the power to make judgments on law, and the parliament system is able to make and change the law, and the executive government is able to enforce the law. So in this way the power is delegated to each important bodies. So whenever a need is arised, the need is prepared as a bill, and that bill will be passed in order to welfare the country. Now we can have a look on the four pillars of Indian democracy. As I told you earlier, formally we called the legislature, executive, and judiciary are the three pillars of our democracy. But nowadays, the media is also added as one of the pillars for the Indian democracy. And now have a look deep into each and every important pillars of our democracy. Legislature. Legislature denotes the legislative body of a country or state. We are having a national-wide legislative structure and state level structure also. So the central government and the state government political people are nothing but formed by the legislative structure. So the legislative body of the country and the state make laws that govern the country and states. Already the Indian constitution system developed lot of instructions and informations to guide the politicians and the government bodies how to run the country. So they are completely aware about the things which are all well written in the past. In addition, at the time of need, based on people's necessity, they are able to create some laws. This is the responsibility of the legislative system in state wise and central wise. The representatives, that is the politicians elected by the people, are the important part of the legislative body, and they make and change the laws, as I told earlier. The supreme legislative body of India is the Parliament of India. The legislature consists of two houses, namely Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are the important house which is coming under parliamentary system of India. In the same way, in state level also we are having upper house and lower house. That is, in the state government they are having state legislative council and state legislative assembly as upper house and lower house. So you can see the same anatomy of political power distribution both in central and state government of our India. And now, executive. What is the difference between legislature and executive? Executives are selected by election system of India like the legislative structure, but the executive committees are having the power to execute anything based on the laws developed or laws pre-written in our constitution. The representatives elected for the parliamentary houses are the members of the parliament. The executive team is formed by a party that holds majorly attained by the election system. So the party which is stands next to the majority party having no participation in the executive committee. You can see in our country nowadays also, both in central and state ministers are formed only by the majority party, and the members of parliament from majority party elect the president of India. The same way, a representative elected by people for state legislative assembly is known as a member of legislative assembly, shortly called as MLA. These elected executives are more important to design and pass a bill in the state legislature and parliament house. Just I told earlier, anything a new law or necessity is arised, they should be executed by the members of executive committee. Let's have a look on how a law is or the bill is prepared and it is passed. See here, this is nothing but the overall view of the lawmaking process. Whenever a new dispute or a need is arised among the general public, first it is prepared as a bill, and after drafting the bill, this will be sent into the first reading in any house. So before that, they should have the approval from the Prime Minister. After Prime Minister's approval, the bill is sent to the any house for first reading. So in the after the first reading, the bill is fine finished and it is placed for voting among the both executive members and other members. In the place of voting, it is passed, then directly this will goes to the reading for the next house. Next house. If it is failed during the voting, then again the bill is refined based on the suggestions raised by the oppositive parties and then placed again for voting. And if it is passed in voting, this will send to the next house. In the next house also the same process procedure is followed. If it is passed, then it is sent to the president approval. If it is failed, then this will refined based on the criticisms. If the president allowed it, then directly this will published in the official gazette. If not, this will return into the very first stage. And note a point, the president can only reject the bill at once. So this is nothing but the overview of the lawmaking process. And then the next important pillar of our democracy, judiciary. Judiciary is an pillar to our Indian democracy, which ensures that the law and orders do not restrict or harm the citizens' fundamental rights. Because the laws, majority of the laws and instructions are developed by the legislative assembly and the legislative team, these laws should not affect or restrict the citizens' fundamental rights. This is the responsibility of the judiciary. They have to voluntarily involve in the execution process and prevent any harm happened to the fundamental rights of the citizen. The common law system is managed by our Indian judiciary system, and that judiciary system in India consists of Supreme Court as a supreme power, high courts, district courts, and tribunal boards. As I told you, the highest authority of Indian judiciary system is our Supreme Court, and Indian courts have the responsibility to handle and pass decision on various issues in a political entity such as country or state. And now come to the point, media. So what is the role of media as an important pillar? One of the pillar of Indian democracy is media having the duty of assuring the transparency of all the above mentioned three pillars of India and convey the same information without any refining to all the common people in the country. And media has the responsibility to keep the citizens informed about the activities of executives, legislative system, and judiciary system. And then media is a key medium that provides information about the happenings to citizens and helps them to question those in power. And now at the conclusion, all the four pillars of Indian democracy, what we discussed earlier, must be strong and independent to ensure the democracy in the nation. But sometimes there may be a bias among some media in reaching the actual information to the public. This is based upon the uh, system framework and a number of channels of the particular media. And just apart the media, nowadays the social media plays a significant role in reaching news to the individual citizen through the smartphones or through the computer network and everything. At the same time, they fail to filter the fact messages circulation also. This is a very important disadvantage of social media, because there is no authority nowadays to manage what information is displayed to the public. So without that control, Some fact informations also circulate very fastly among the people through the social media. And these were the things I planned to discuss to you now. And you are all instructed to have some more look over the very important pillars of Indian democratic system through some other channel of informations. Thank you very much.